Mr. Ezell, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Michael Dwayne Ezell, 425920.
Thank you, Mr. Ezell. Mr. Ezell, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then we're going to have a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow those persons who wish to have input to speak. It's my understanding that with you there is your sister, Miss Michelle Ezell, your brother, Leroy Ezell, and another brother, Frederick Ezell, and they all wish to speak. Once they have an opportunity to speak, and once we have a hearing, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the board, and then we'll vote. Do you understand our process, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is Michael D. Ezell, DOC number 425920, date of birth, July the 12th of 1979. He's a first-time offender. Parole eligibility date is July the 12th of 2024. He has an adjusted good time date of December the 6th of 2029, full-term date of January the 1st of 2035. He is currently serving a 36-year sentence on the charge of armed robbery, having been sentenced on December the 13th of 1999. Is that information accurate, Mr. Ezell?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ezell, your case has been assigned to me, so I will begin the process of our interview, okay? Mr. Ezell, how old are you today, sir?
44.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
A few more days will be 25 years.
So you were, what, 19 when this happened?
Yeah, I just turned 19.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Michael Ezell at 19 years old. Had you finished high school?
No, sir.
Were you still in school or did you drop out?
Well, I had dropped out.
Okay, when did you drop out of high school?
Like the 11th, 10th or 11th grade.
Why did you drop out?
Well, trouble teen. I had started going to adult ed. Trouble teen, want to be grown before my time.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Were drugs or alcohol involved at all when you were that age?
No, I used to smoke marijuana though, but it wasn't no big issue because I was working, doing side jobs and working for my uncle.
Let you and I talk, and I'll determine whether it was a big issue or not. Okay.
All right.
How often did you? How old were you when you started smoking marijuana?
Probably like 16. I was still in high school.
And how often were you smoking marijuana?
Like on the weekends with friends.
Did you ever start smoking marijuana more often than just the weekends?
Well, yeah, before I got locked up, yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about right before you got locked up. How often were you smoking?
Probably 3 or 4 times a week.
And as you look back, what effect did that smoking marijuana 3 or 4 times a week have on you?
Well, it had a large effect because I feel like it was real stupid or stupidity, because as I got older through the years of now and not me being involved in drugs like that, I feel like it was real crazy. It had an effect on me.
So as we sit here today, it is a big deal.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what happened on Christmas Eve in 1998.
Well, that's when I robbed the bank.
I know you did. I don't want you to tell me. I know that, and I read the police reports. I'd like to know what was going on with you. Were you on marijuana at the time? Were you smoking marijuana? Were you high? What was the purpose of your going into the bank and robbing it?
Well, I had wanted to be somebody who I wasn't. I was a wannabe. I was young, wild, crazy, wannabe. And which resulted in these 25 years right here of me doing something which I had an opportunity not to do it but I wanted to be a wannabe. And being young and wild.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Who were you hanging out with? What is it that you wanted to be? What did you believe robbing that bank would give you?
I thought it would make me feel like I would have been more than what I was, a bigger person in front of people, one of the as they use terminology, one of the top dogs with the little dudes that I was hanging with back then.
So who were you trying to impress? Your friends, the guys,
Yeah,
the buds you were hanging out with?
yes, sir.
Did that work?
No, it didn't, because it cost me 25 years. I lost a lot.
As you look back on that, what are your thoughts about who you were back then?
Immature, wasn't who I really wanted to be or should have been, because I had a lot of opportunities in sports and I overlooked that. And it got me here, or where I'm at right now, which I have a chance to speak about to others.
I notice in your file that you've lost 477 days of good time. Tell me about that.
But when I come to prison, prison was not how it is now. And I always speak, and a lot of people don't like the way I speak. They think the way I speak or the way I talk, they don't like the way I speak. And I speak my mind. I try and be real with people, and they don't accept being real, because I'm more verbal, and I learned to be verbal through the years. And I feel like being verbal, people should understand, and that's how I lost like 460 some days of good time.
What sort of things did you do? What sort of offenses did you commit that got you to lose so much good time?
I think the fines, like Rule 3 fines. I probably had.
Now, you were in Tensaw Parish Jail for a while, and it looks like in 1999, you got a charge of battery of police officer and public intimidation. Tell me what that was about.
1999. I was free, or I think I was free when that happened.
Okay, well, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I was standing out with some people one night, and somebody called the police, and the police department came, and somebody threw some drugs by me. And I'm trying to explain to them that it's not me, it's not my drugs, and that's how I got the public intimidation.
Now, and they kind of at that time you were out on bond on these charges?
No, that was before these charges, I think. That was before this.
Well, I show that this offense occurred, the bank robbery occurred on December the 24th of 1998.
98. Is that right? And I've been incarcerated. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I show on your record, it shows, and I might be wrong, I wrote it down, July the 25th of 1999, which would be 7 months later, that you had a battery police officer and public intimidation. And then August the 16th of 1999, a month later, you had a simple arson. You don't remember that?
No, I was incarcerated during those years.
That's what I thought I asked you. I said you were in the Tensaw Parish Sheriff's Office when this, right. The parish prison when this happened. So explain to me what happened. I thought I asked that way, and then you said, no, I was out when that happened.
Yeah, because I had a public intimidation prior to that. I think I was out.
Okay. I show on, well, let me pull it up. I may be wrong. I show an arrest date of battery of a police officer in public intimidation on July the 25th of 1999. And I show a simple arson on August the 16th of 1999. You don't remember any of those? You don't know anything about that?
I think I had the public intimidation. I was in society then. That happened before the robbery. But I had an altercation with an officer while I was in Tensaw Parish Jail.
I think that's it. That's going to be it. So tell me about your altercation.
Gary Killingsworth. He was an officer. He had some keys. He swung a ring of keys at me. And I defended myself. But that was all dismissed once they found out what happened.
Okay. I'm not saying you got convicted of it. You got charged. I want to know what happened. You were also charged that same year, a month later, with simple arson. You remember anything?
All that was dismissed. That happened during the same.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I want to know why you got charged. What were the facts? What happened?
They had a dude burning something. That's how it all. I know what you're talking about. That's what Gary Killingsworth. A dude was burning something in a cell, and he thought it was me. So when he come in and I defended myself, he had a ring of keys and he swung the keys at me.
Yeah.
That's when that transpired right there. But I'm thinking about the public intimidation. I had a public intimidation. That's what I was thinking about.
Tell me about the two write-ups you had in July of 2022, disobedience and tell me about your last two write-ups. You had two write-ups in July of 2022, July the 7th and July the 8th. Tell me about those two write-ups.
All right. The Rule 5, they transpired from the same incident. I was at work on Squad 5, and an inmate told me to do something, and I told the inmate I don't take orders from an inmate. So when I went to tell the officer, he only laughed about it. So the next day, the officer locked me up for it.
So you were charged with aggravated disobedience and aggravated work offense. What was the aggravated disobedience?
That's me. Well, that's what they wrote me up on the following day. The Rule 3. The Rule 5 was when they took my trustee status. They was never supposed to take my trustee status, and I refused until I see the warden. I refused to go to where they wanted me to go until I see the warden. And that's where that transpired from.
Well, you had a 28 as well, aggravated work offense. That was when you got in an argument with the other inmate?
Yes, sir. They all transpired from the same incident. Rule 3, the 28, and the 5.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you got in a lot of trouble and lost a lot of good time because you didn't say this, but I got the impression that you shoot your mouth off. And it sounds like you haven't learned not to do that yet. Talk to me about that.
Well, like I said, I speak. I like to talk, but an inmate had told me to do something, and I was telling the inmate it's not his job to tell me when the officer told me to do something else. So I went and told the officer about that.
You got put up for aggravated disobedience. You and the officer obviously got into some sort of an argument.
Well, I never argued with the officer. The next day when he come to work, he locked me up. He locked me up the next day. If you look at the time on the write-up, it should have been like at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock that morning when I was locked up. And that's where that transpired from, me telling an inmate that I don't take orders from him.
Your institutional record, I noticed, I'm not exactly sure why. I'll ask the warden this in a minute if he's got an answer for it. But on your institutional record, it shows that your institutional record is poor. I'm not sure why it's written that way, but that's what it shows on your institutional record, that you have a poor institutional record. Do you know why that might be?
I can't say why it's that because I work. I'm constantly working, so I can't say why it's poor. I've been working since I've been here. I've been here since.
What are some of the programs that you've taken that you think have been helpful to you?
Well, I've taken anger management, living in balance.
Let's stop at anger management. Tell me what you learned about anger management.
How to control my temper.
Well, it didn't work for you in July of last year. Why did you get in the argument with the guy? Why didn't you just not do it? Why did you have to argue with him?
Because I didn't argue with him. I went and told the officer after I told him I don't take orders from him because it's not his position to tell me to go do something. That's why I went and told the officer. And I asked the officer about it, which inside a prison, it's not an inmate. I'm not like me. I'm not going to go tell another inmate, hey, go do this, go do that. I'm going to say, go ask the officer.
Why would the officer write you up for aggravated disobedience just for telling him that some inmate's trying to get you to do something? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that.
I think that was when he tried to take his trustee card. And he argued with him. And he said, no, I'm not gonna give it to you till I talk to the board.
Right. I was changing dorms then, right? But I worked
You learned in anger management. How do you control your temper in anger management? What did you learn there?
how to contain and vent later, how to contain. I learned how to a certain way to vent. See, at one time, like before this incident, I used to speak out and talk. I talk, but I don't, when I talk and speak, I don't use cuss words or curse words like a lot of people. I talk with intelligence, how I learned through the years, how I educated myself throughout the years. And a lot of the people, they feel inferior to that. When you speak intelligent to them, they feel like you belittle them like that. And I learned how to vent at certain times by myself. I might go out and pray. I might go out and just speak out to myself and talk to myself. A lot of people look at you and see that and think you mentally ill, and I just laugh it off. That's the way I vent. I laugh a lot. When people say stuff, I laugh, and that hurt people. They don't like for you to laugh. I'd rather to laugh at them and walk off than to let another altercation occur or something like that. Like I told the dude, hey, I don't take orders from you, man. And I went and told the officer in that situation.
That didn't work out very well for you, did it?
But I live and learn. I live and learn. I learned.
So tell me what you learned from that lesson. What might you do differently in July of last year than what you did this time?
Next time, don't tell them nothing. Just go and do the job. And if I did the wrong job, hey, I wasn't supposed to do that. I take my lick. All right, I did the wrong job. But in prison, doing the wrong job will sometimes get you in trouble. That's why you got to go to the officer.
What other courses have you taken that you believe have been helpful to you?
I took the 100 hours of anger management. I'm on backlog for victim impact. I was backlog for thinking for a change, but the backlog list was too long. I go to church every Sunday. I did all type of seminars for the church and correspondence for church, which I'm very frequent inside the church programs. But the best one I took was like, I think living in balance, because you're more verbal inside of living in balance, and you get to or like AANA, when I was in that years ago, you're more verbal, you get to speak more and talk more inside of that. And that's what I become through the years. I become a more verbal person, an outspoken person.
What's your transition plan? Where are you going to be living at?
In a small town called Gilbert, Louisiana. I'll be staying with my aunt. She's kind of elderly. But that's why I'll be staying at.
And what kind of work you going to be doing?
I have job offers. My cousin, a foreman for a farm, and my auntie, she has all the equipment. We have our own farm. I'll be working on the farm.
You were in prison fellowship. Tell me a little bit about that. What is that?
That's my field right there, sir. That's what I like. You know, I'm more often to the ministry. You know, more often to the ministry. That's what I love. I got degrees in that. I got associates. I got 2 associates in theology. I was close to a master, but I got transferred. And when I got transferred here at the university, I was taking up. They didn't have a proctor, but now they have a proctor. They have their own proctor at this facility for that. But I feel like the associates I have and the hours I have in it, I'm qualified for that. I just have to get out with my support groups, the Keep It Real program, the Band of Brothers program. I have a lot of support groups, and I have a nice podium for that field that they are ready for me to come out and speak, because they need younger ministers in that field that could reach the youth.
Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Ezell?
Well, you know, Michael's been here since April 11. A lot of the write-ups, well, he was at Angola. You know, he has.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Breaking up again.
Yes.
Michael's been here since 4/11, and a lot of those write-ups that did happen at Angola. He has had 10 write-ups since he's been here, and that last one, you know, that cost him his trustee status, of course, back there in 22. He's currently is a Strive member. He has signed up for the Victim Impact class. He's taken some other classes here. He used to be a tutor. He tutored for 11 years in our educational department. He was a GED tutor. So, I mean, he has done some good things. He does realize, like you said earlier, and like you said too, that sometimes the mouth gets ahead of the brain. So, but I think that's something he is working on.
He indicated that that there was a backlog for thinking for change. If I were to vote to grant conditionally upon him completing that program, can we get him in that program?
I can make it happen.
Thank you, Warden. Any questions? Yes. Yeah. Now we'll hear from your support, Miss Michelle Ezell.
Yeah, definitely.
Good afternoon. I'm
Good
Michelle.
afternoon.
I'm Michael's older sister. I feel as though when he came in, he was a boy. He did a childish thing. He came in as a boy. I feel like today he's a man. And over these 25 years, he's lost a lot, learned a lot. We lost our mother, grandmother, who raised us. I just feel like not only did he lose, but we lost 25 years over something that he was a first time offender. Felt, like we lost him. And, I just feel like it's time for him to have a chance to come back and live a life that he was destined to have. And I think that he's learned his lesson. He's ready. He's mature. We have the resources out there to help him to do the things that he talked about doing with the youth, with the church, the youth program at the church. I'm getting emotional, but I just feel like he's done his time and he's ready.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Ezell. Now we'll hear from Mr. Leroy Ezell.
Good afternoon, sir. I just wanted to say I was on this charge with my brother 25 years ago. I was charged with accessory after the fact. And me and another guy, Kevin Jackson, I talked to a lady from the parole board. She said when she contacted me, she didn't know all this. I was 18, my brother was 19. And the guy that was on the charge with my brother, he had an armed robbery. He was way older than us. Like I said, we was misled, but me and my brother was in prison. And this guy was going home with his family on the weekend while he was on trustee. And he got credit for time served, no probation or nothing. I'm 18 years old in prison just for accessory after the fact on this charge. I feel like it was an excessive sentence. I mean, when they sent me to prison, I got 5 years, and I'm seeing people with 10 counts of armed robbery with 10 years. I say, whoa. I say, what I did? But I wanted to say this, and I done had a couple chances. I just pray and hope that y'all, at least give him one chance. It took me a couple chances to get my life right. But now I'm out here, I'm a truck driver, whatever resource, or father of 5 kids, whatever resources he need, he got it. But I don't think he had to learn a lesson from this. He had to get some type of punishment, but the punishment he got, I don't think it was, because the other guy was older than me. He could have told him not to do it, but we doing time, and this guy home with his family.
Thank you, Mr. Ezell. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Frederick Ezell, Mr. Ezell.
Yes, sir. Michael's oldest brother. And I would like to say again, I agree with my brother that I believe that Michael was a young kid at that time. And I think that he made a bad decision. I'm not gonna say a mistake, but he made a bad decision. And I think maybe this crime, the time that he got for this charge, maybe been a little excessive. But I think he is grown. I know my brother was a little hard headed, and throughout the time, I noticed the changes that he'd been through, and I believe that he has learned his lessons, and I think he should be given a chance to be reintroduced to society and become a productive member of society. And I think given that opportunity, I think he'll do good. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ezell. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Michael Ezell, is there anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
I like to say, at one time, I never thought I would have got this chance to sit in front of a parole board. 24 to 5, that was a blessing to me. In the state of Louisiana, armed robbery didn't have a parole. So if you wouldn't have gave me this opportunity just to be in front of you, I never would have had a chance to sit in front of you and discuss this. I'm blessed. This is all I got left. I got other family members, but this is my closest family besides my elderly aunties. I got one that's older than my auntie Betty that I'm going to live with. She's like, and her name is, but I'm blessed. I put it in God's hands. Whatever decision you make, I feel like God put it on your heart to make that decision. So I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to sit down in front of you and just to be here today, because I never would have had this chance. Like I say, the state of armed robbery didn't even have a parole at one time, and I'm blessed to have this opportunity. And I learned my lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ezell. Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Mr. Ezell, I think you've been pretty honest with us today. You were a young man when this happened. I don't disagree with your brother about the length of your sentence. That's a pretty long sentence for a young man. Although it was a very serious crime, a gun in a bank, you took a lot of money. So, I'm not downplaying that, and I'm not faulting the judge or the prosecutor for doing whatever they did. They did what they did. But you were a young man. What I see, Mr. Ezell, and I'm gonna be really, really honest with you. Sometimes we let our mouths overload ourselves. You follow what I'm saying? You talk too much. You need to think before you talk. I was a judge for a long time, and I used to have a sign on my desk because I'm like you a lot. I had a sign and it said, listen before you talk. Okay? And I think that a lot of the problems that you've had while you've been in prison, and I'm going to tell you, I was concerned about all your write-ups, but I think it's because you talk too much. Sometimes we don't need to say everything we think. And we got to be in a little control of that, okay? I'm hoping that that Thinking for a Change class will help you be able to understand. Sounds like you're a very intelligent young man. You've got a lot of good things ahead of you, but you need to control yourself. Now, you're going to be on parole for a while, so you're going to have to make sure that you control your temper. Okay. I know sometimes you believe you know more than what the person that you're arguing with is saying, but you need to tone that back a little. Okay. But you've done well while you've been in prison. You've worked hard. My vote today would be to grant, conditioned upon your enroll in and completing that Thinking for a Change class, and then to live with your aunt in Gilbert. I also want you, I think you might still have some residuals of a drug addiction. I want you to go to at least 3 AA meetings per week. I want you to get a substance abuse evaluation and go to at least 3 AA meetings a week. I'd like you to report to your parole officer weekly, at least for the first 60 days, just to make sure that you get yourself acclimated to everything. You've got a bright future. You've got a wonderful family that is here to support you. So I wish you the best, but I'm only one vote. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Wise?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Ezell, I'll tell you, when I was reading last night, I tell you, the only good thing you have is that for me, is that you lack victim opposition. Your victim is unopposed. The victim said you've done 20 years and the victim felt like that was sufficient. And you was the first offender. That's the only thing you had. You better love on that family because they turned it for me today with them being there. So somebody know you better than I do. Two words, peace and purpose. When you're engaging with somebody, is it worth being right? Or do I need to just keep peace? Which is more important, being right or peace? Peace would just shut up. You just shut up. And then you're a bright man, like Mr. Marabella said, you got a lot going on. That's your purpose in life. So do some reading and research on those two things, peace and purpose, and keep those in front of you. My son told me that when I'm getting ready to leave the house, I have three things: my glasses, my keys, and my cell phone. I go through those three things. So when you leave the house, peace, purpose, and get you some scripture to add some more to that. Because like you said, you're a bright man, but if you're saying the right thing, but you stand up on top of the table, nobody's listening. Your purpose not being carried out. So that's free. I'm not gonna charge for that, but my vote is to grant, again, because of the two things that I said and the positive warden comments. And I concur with all the conditions set forth by Ms. Marabella. Build that relationship with your PO. Your PO is actually on your team.
Man.
And your PO is kind of like a correctional officer. You don't tell her what to do. She tells you.
Man.
That's wishes to you.
Thank you, Ms. Watts. Mr. Freeman?
I mean, I hate to keep banging on that drum, but I'll be totally honest with you. I think all your problems in prison were your mouth. And I'm not to say you wasn't right sometimes. Because sometimes, those guards get a little puffy. They've had a bad day or something, and they can take it out on inmates. But the bottom line is, it's not worth it to you. I mean, like Ms. Wise says, when you go to that probation office, listen. Then if you have concerns later, bring them back. Don't start arguing right there. Listen, leave, collect your thoughts, and say, okay, is this worth it or not? As she said. Okay, I mean, when a cop stops me today, and yes, I do get stopped by cops, it's all yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. Even if he gives me a ticket, I tell him thank you. I'm serious, and that's what you need to learn to do. But my votes could be the grant also with the same conditions as Mr. Marabella.
Mr. Ezell, you've been granted condition upon completing the thinking for a change class. Maybe you need to get married and have your wife make you understand how it is you're supposed to talk. Because I think that's I know Mr. Freeman and I, we've learned that. So maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need a good woman. But you're a very intelligent young man, and I think you'll be able to do it. So as Ms. Wise often says, sit on the front row of that thinking for a change and learn and listen to what they have to say. So good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.